A teenager is upset that her parents won't pay for college, despite making $320,000 a year.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Omomi, aka Petite Diva, and in this video we are discussing parents paying or not paying for their children's college tuition fees or university tuition fees. Now this video is inspired by two videos that I saw. Now the first video is a video of a teenager who is upset with her parents that they were not willing to help her pay her college tuition fees, even though they earned much more than she needed to pay for her school fees.
A teenager is upset that her parents won't pay for college, despite making $320,000 a year. The 17-year-old named Haley called into the Dave Ramsey show, saying that she'd received some scholarships that brought her tuition down to $30,000 a year. But that's still a six-figure degree. But her very well-off parents have just bought a vacation home and are planning to retire in the next few years, so they're not willing to chip into her education. So Haley asked Ramsey for advice on getting student loans because her parents' high income means she doesn't qualify for financial aid. Ramsey found it absurd that parents who can afford a vacation home would allow their child to sink six figures in debt for an education, calling it a screwed up value system, and urging Haley to find a different school she could go to where she wouldn't have to take on debt. Ramsey's advice is often controversial, of course, and full disclosure, I'm not one who usually agrees with him. But in this case, I gotta go Team Ramsey. Teaching your kids the value of a dollar and how to pay their own way in life is vitally important. But Haley's situation butts up against another very real problem in America right now. Not only is college exorbitantly expensive, but the value of a college degree has been steadily declining for years. Partly this is because so many more people have degrees nowadays, but it's also because of the way the job market has changed, where even many low-rung entry-level jobs require a master's degree, but certainly don't pay like it. This puts young people in a situation where they often can't even get their foot in the door without an elite degree or two, leaving them carrying six figures worth of debt for a degree that often won't even get them a job that pays enough to pay off the debt from getting the degree in the first place. Again, expecting your kids to pay their own way in life is important. Everyone has to learn that. But we're no longer in the era when you can put yourself through college with a part-time job waiting tables, and we haven't been for decades. Forcing your child to voluntarily hurl themselves into the life-ruining meat grinder our education and economic system has become because you want to buy a vacation home? Gotta go with old Ramsey on this one. That is absurd.
Now the second video is of a guy who said that he's going to pay his daughter's college fees, and he also hopes to have like $1 million stock portfolio for her when she becomes an adult.
So my daughter will not be paying for her own college. I will be paying that for her. And by the time she's an adult, she'll have a home, she'll have a car, and hopefully, and this is my goal, I don't know if I'll be able to accomplish this or not, but she'll have a $1 million stock portfolio. The one thing that I want more for my daughter than anything else is for her to be financially free as an adult. I don't want her to graduate college with a useless degree and a lot of student loan debt. And I don't want her to work at some bullshit corporate office job. I'm Chinese, and I just think in my culture, you always want the best for your children. And that's why I'm doing all the things that I'm doing. I'm investing in real estate. I day trade. I invest in stocks. I just started an e-commerce business last year. I want my daughter to be extremely wealthy when she grows up, and I will do everything I can to make that happen.
Now the last video had thousands and thousands of comments in the comment section, and some people were of the opinion that him paying for his daughter's school fees and trying to set her up for adulthood was bad parenting. Now a lot of people had some things to say about the comments that were calling his willingness to pay for his daughter's tuition fee, his daughter's college tuition fees, and also set her up in future for adulthood as bad parenting.
So my daughter will not be paying for her own college. I will be paying that for her. And by the time
parenting does not have an expiry date. And I absolutely cannot understand. I'm trying not to be judgmental, but I cannot understand it. This idea that despite being able to help your adult child, you would refuse to because they're adults and they have to fend for themselves. Like, people who have their children pay rent once they turn 18. Your rent did not go up just because your child is now an adult. It's just a control thing. It's just a, I don't know, revenge thing because you didn't have support when you were a kid. I don't know. But it makes no sense. Even worse, people who force their children to move out for no good reason. It makes no sense. You can save so much money by allowing your child to live in the house in which they have lived all their lives and in which they are entitled to still live despite being 18 years old in one day. I felt so bad for so long about the fact that my parents were paying my rent and bills now that I live in the United Kingdom. And then at one point I was like, you know what? Screw it. My parents only left their parents' house when they were 30 and 32. They had a house to move into because my dad's dad had multiple property and he gave one to his son. Like, I'm not living in the house, I'm living somewhere else. You and your wife move in. 1 year later, I was born. Had my parents not been able to, have a house that was their own, I don't know if they could have had a child that soon after getting married. It's also me. Being able to stay with a parent and not having to worry about having to find 1,000 little jobs to just pay rent also meant that my mom's a doctor and my dad's an engineer. That helps. Had my mom had to move out, I don't think she would have been able to afford all the little things that you have to pay for, even if university is free in Italy. Parents don't stop being parents at 18 years old. There is no reason for you to not want to support your child just because they're an adult. You might be forcing your child into so many decisions, wrong decisions, that they would have never had to make had you supported them like you were supposed to. And I'm not talking about not being able to support your kid because you're in a tough situation yourself. I understand that. And somehow it's never those people who refuse to help the children. But if you refuse to support your kid and your kid has to pass out on opportunities because they're too expensive or they don't pay rent when you could have helped them, how do you feel good about that? Like, imagine your kid having the golden chance to further their education, having to pass on the opportunity because you force them to move out at 18, you're refusing to help them with any cost, and therefore they need free jobs just to keep afloat. Imagine your kid having to stay in an abusive relationship because they're not able to move out, because you're refusing to pay to help them out, despite being able to. How can you feel good about that? I don't consider myself spoiled because I feel safe. I consider myself fortunate and I have deep respect of my parents for doing that, and I try to help out in every way I can. But to think that my parents, who are a doctor and an engineer because their parents were able to help them, could have just gone, we're not helping you out, is mind-boggling to me.
So my daughter will not be paying for her own college. I will be paying that for her.
So this is a very interesting topic, and there's many opinions on how people should treat their kids when it comes to paying for college, paying for a wedding, all that stuff. But I feel like people land in three camps. The first camp, like this guy is in the video, is saying he's going to pay for everything. He's going to pay for his kid's college. He's going to pay for the wedding, the house. He's going to pay for all of it. And I see that very common in immigrant communities where they dump everything into their children. The second camp is a lot of people say, I paid my way, so you're going to pay your way. And then the third camp, which is where me and my wife landed for our daughter, was we're going to pay for half of everything. So when she turns 16 or whenever she wants her car, we're going to put up half and we're going to tell her, hey, if you want this car, you have to pay the other half. Same with college. We started at $529 for her and we calculated how much college would be, and we're going to save half of that in the $529. So she'll have to come up with the other half with either through scholarships or through student loans, and so on and so forth.
So my daughter will not be paying for her own college. I will be paying that for her. And by the time she's an adult, she'll have a home, she'll have a car.
This video really highlights how differently people perceive parenting and the idea of bootstraps. A lot of people said, oh my God, your kid's gonna be so spoiled. And at least part of that has to do with ethnicity. A lot of Asian families believe, one, that parenting doesn't end at 18, and two, that you would pay education costs for sure. Now, that is certainly not something only Asian parents believe. I remind you, so many people who succeed in America get it because of generational wealth. And that's really what he's talking about. He's talking about how he is going to set up his child for success. And that sort of thinking, even if it's a very different way of framing it, is what you also see like in trust fund families. They are not cutting their kids off at 18. But then you have a whole nother mix of people who are in his comments claiming that setting his daughter up for a future where she's probably still going to have to work hard, but has some foundation, is going to ruin her. And for those people, I would remind you, there's no way you can pull yourself up by your bootstrap. That is literally not feasible. This country has a myth of the self-made man. No one is self-made. Now, if you choose to cut your kid off at 18, okay. If you don't have the financial ability to do what he's doing, okay. But assuming that his kid will rot for setting her up is really misguided. There are plenty of kids who had to pull themselves off the bootstrap who would dream of having a parent who even helped with it.
So my daughter will not be paying for her own college. I will be paying that for her.
Anyone in the comments of that video saying that, oh, your daughter's gonna grow up spoiled, she's gonna be a brat because she doesn't have to pay for her own college. Why are you so bitter? At the end of the day, this is a father who has the financial ability to provide for his child. Why would he not? I just can't with the whole mentality of like, well, I had to struggle and I had to do X, Y, and Z, so you also have to do it too and be unhappy. Everyone has different struggles in their life. There's not one specific path to be a good, decent human being. Oh, your parents paid for your college? Well, you're gonna be spoiled and bad with money. Like, Bessie, there are different ways to learn these lessons in life. At the end of the day, these people are hating on what is a positive situation. They are the type of people that when they see their friends win, they get pissed off.
So because I'm going to...
Let me tell you what bothers some of you adults so much, and this is sad. When a parent lay down a foundation for their child in order for their child to succeed, whether it's buying my child a house, paying for his college, buying my son a car, you guys sometimes look at the lens of how you were brought up and how you're raising your child and compare it. It is not my fault. Whatever you've been through in life, it is not my fault. Whatever your upbringing is, just like whatever I've been through in life and my upbringing, it's not my child's fault. I am not here to teach my child a lesson from my upbringing. I am here to shield my child. And yes, I said it. I'm going to shield my child as much as I can shield him. I'm going to shield him from making poor money making decisions. You know, I'm going to shield him because I've made poor money making decisions before. And getting out of debt was hard, but getting in debt was easy. It just always puzzled me when a parent giving their child the world, especially if you have a good child, and people always look at it like they're a spoiled brat. They're a spoiled brat. They'll never understand. They never have to work hard for it. It's not that they're a spoiled brat. If my son is faithfully getting 3.5s, 3.7s, doing everything he need to do as a college student, I'm going to provide. I'm going to provide. And whenever he need to be redirected, I'm going to redirect as a parent. Some of you guys literally be low-key envious and jealous of parents who bend over backward for their kids. You know why? Because you're not. You're not. Let me say it. And sometimes you're not even a good parent. So you're jealous of not only their parenting style, but you're jealous of the relationship that they have with their child. And let me tell you another thing some people are jealous of, and this is just mind-blowing. Some of you guys are jealous when a kid grow up in a 2-parent household. That's a whole nother story, and that's sad.
So my daughter will not be paying for her own college. I will be paying that for her.
Are y'all okay? I'm reading the comments of this video of this father saying he wants to pay for his child's tuition, pay for her car, make sure she has like a $1 million stock portfolio if he can manage, and y'all are upset. In what world is it not okay to make sure that you set your kids up for a good future? Like, they're talking about she's going to be entitled brat or she's not going to work for anything. First of all, him setting her up that way is just the starting pack. She still has to live an adult life. She still has to be responsible. She'll probably still have to work to some degree. But why wouldn't you as a parent want to give and provide the best possible future for your child, especially because they did not ask to be here? If you can manage, but like deciding, like having the means to do it and then deciding, no, I'm not because my kid needs to struggle, my kid needs to learn the hard way, questionable. questionable.
I do want to clarify that I don't think that all parents should be paying for their kids' college tuition or supporting them 100% financially. That's not what I meant at all. I was talking more as a family support community. I was giving an example. We have the financial means to actually help our daughter, and so that's totally separate. I don't think that all families can do that. But I also don't think that at 18 should they kick them out if they can let them live there. Not as a freeloader, but like as a kid that's going to be respectful, help out with the house, that sort of thing. So just kind of like how you're saying that, you know, you might not be able to pay for their college, but you support lots of other things. I think even just emotional support is really helpful. And the example that I gave when I was talking about a specific situation where an 18-year-old high school graduate was kicked out of her house by her parents, and her parents were not poor. Like, they were well off, going on vacations out of the country sort of thing. So like, I just felt like that's not okay. Like, you had this kid. Like, you might not have to pay for their college, but you should at least let them live in the house they've lived in for 18 years.
One of the comments I saw concerning the fact that the guy said he wants to pay for his daughter's college fees was that she's going to be entitled. As someone who is a Nigerian and had our school fees paid for by our parents, I think I might be able to talk about some things. But before we continue this video, I would love to find out if your parents paid for your college tuition fees or if they did not, and if this concept of children paying for their school fees and getting into debt by taking loans is something that is always seen in the US or it's seen in other countries. So please leave your comments in the comment section. Now, as I explained earlier, I am from Nigeria, and most times in Nigeria, a lot of parents pay for their children's school fees, starting from kindergarten, nursery school to university or college. Now, most parents will stop paying for their children's school fees after the first degree. For the second degree, some parents are like, the child can take care of that, but some parents will still pay for the second degree. Now, the only time where you see parents not paying for their children's school fees is if they cannot afford it. And some parents do some things just to make sure that their children go to school. You will see some people, especially mothers, joining financial groups, because some of them are JAWS, some cooperative, and they would be contributing monthly, and it gets to a stage where they are able to take loans, and they will take these loans to pay for their children's school fees and set them up so that they would not have to worry about the tuition fees when they are in school. So a lot of Nigerians do that to be able to afford to send their children to school, because a lot of Nigerians value education, because education is one thing that can help pull somebody out of poverty. So a lot of people value education in Nigeria, and a lot of parents would want to pay for their children's school fees. Now, some of the people are saying that, that if you pay for your child's school fees, the child will not know how to value money and the rest. And I don't understand that concept. Like I said, my school fees was paid for by my parents, largely paid for by my parents. Any other thing that I needed, they might not pay, but that school thing, everything was paid. Almost everything was paid. Now, I'm not entitled. I don't think I'm entitled. And anything else that I needed, I always try to get it. So I'm always looking for businesses and ideas that I can use to get more money. So I don't think that I'm entitled because my tuition fee was paid. Now, I saw some comments in the comment section of that the second video, the guy that said he was going to pay his daughter's college fees, and some people were like, I paid for my school fees by myself, and now I'm in debt. I wish my parents had helped out and paid for part of the school fees. Another person was saying that that because our dad was not a good person, he always thought that women should struggle, so he was never going to help her out in paying her school fees or doing anything. And now apparently she's not talking to the person. Like I said, I know that a lot of people might not be able to afford to pay for their child's school fees, But I think that instead of just telling the child to go and get thousands and thousands of debts, you could help out in, a parent is supposed to help out in some things. Now, this the first video that I showed, where the parents were earning over $320,000 per year and refused to help pay for their child's $30,000 school fees after she had gotten scholarship to reduce the school fees to that amount, and she could not get a loan because our parents don't qualify for it, because that kind of amount nobody's going to pay. Nobody's going to say think you are poor or something, because that's a lot of money that they are earning. But because they want to buy a house, or they bought a house that they are not even going to retire until 7-10 years, and that is the reason why they don't want to pay for their child's school fees, which I think the college fees will just be for 3 years. That to me is bad parenting. Even if the parents that were earning $320,000 per annum, even if they wanted to show that, okay, they wanted to value money, they could have at least paid for like 15,000 out of her money. Then she will be able to maybe work for the remaining 15,000. But saying completely that they are not going to give her, and she cannot get a loan, she cannot get financial aid, she's looking for a loan, so they want her to start her adulthood with huge debt, despite the fact that they could help her out. That to me, I don't get it. And for people to think that is good parenting, I don't understand. Anyway, that is my thoughts about this whole situation. What do you guys think about this situation? Parents paying for their children's college tuition fees or not paying for their children's tuition fees. Did your parents pay for your tuition fee? Did you have to get a loan? Are you in debt after finishing school? If you are a parent, do you intend to pay for all of your child's tuition fees, or you intend to pay for parts? Are you doing anything right now? If your child is not yet in school, are you doing anything right now? Are you saving, or are you investing so that you make sure that when the child is 18 or when the child is going to school, you are going to have money to be able to help the child pay the tuition fee? I would love to hear your thoughts about this whole situation, so please leave your comment in the comment section so that we can get this discussion popping. Now, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed and you like videos such as this, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.